Is a modded small block better than a stock big block? Or a slightly larger big block? Well, actually, I'm not sure if a 2.5 is considered a big block, especially compared to a 2-liter. But let's find out anyways. To start, the 2.5 Skyactiv produces 184 horsepower and 185 foot-pounds of torque, paired to a 6-speed automatic. As far as mods go, it has CX9 front brakes, CX5 rear brakes, a grounding kit, a K&N filter, Mazda speed wheels with 20mm spacers in the front and 25mm in the rear, with a honeycomb mesh grille and a front lip. For this review, I've asked my friend Nathan for help to give me an outside perspective on both cars. Starting with an outside look of the 3rd gen.
First off, in the front end, you got the nice black grille going on. It has a really smooth kind of body lines to it. It's really, really good. I don't like the stance of this. I tell you all the time, I think this thing, I call it the SUV affectionately. I do like this car, but the height of it is crazy. The stance, you've helped it out. We got the nice, what wheels are these?
These are 2nd gen Mazda speed wheels.
Okay, yeah. They look great in this color. This car is, what, close to 10 years old?
It is 10 years, it's 2014.
2014, it's 10 years old, and it still looks really modern, which is kind of rare. Normally 10 years old is when
it kind of
starts
falls
to
out.
age. Yeah, exactly.
Let's get some driving impression.
Yeah, I see you have some paddle shifts here. How do I go into a paddle shift mode?
Just go in the manual mode,
Yeah.
and then you can either use the manual mode on the shifter or the paddles.
Okay.
And you also have a sport mode too.
Ah, wow, I can tell.
Right?
I could tell right away.
It's like,
Oh,
it just sharpens everything. The gear changer a little bit more like snappy and stuff.
Oh, it is. It just,
For like an economy car, I thought it was pretty like surprising.
A lot of torque.
That's what I love about this one. Like, you do have like the low end torque.
Just get off the line at a red light.
Yeah. And if you're comparing like gas mileage, like they're in the same ballpark, you know?
Okay.
Like, it's not like you're not going to save a ton of money, like just going for a 2-liter instead of 2.5.
Right. Very long gears, kind of expected from
for like an economy
stock,
car. Yeah.
Automatic transmission. Okay, hitting some corners now.
Like for a stock car, it's still it handles
fantastic,
like decent. Yeah. It has a very linear power band.
Really very surprising for a 4-cylinder.
For like 180 something like horsepower.
It's not making me go like, especially in curves like that. I'm not looking for more power.
Yeah.
If it was there, sure. But because it is so linear, it's available when I need it.
And you have the torque.
Yes.
That just pulls you out.
Yeah, exactly. And the steering input's very direct.
It's direct. You don't get so much feedback because it's electric power steering.
I am still pleasantly surprised by it.
By the weight of it still.
It has really good weight. The feedback is not completely
No.
It's still there. There's also not that much more power past 5,000 RPM.
No.
So you can early shift and you're fine. The torque is still there. The horsepower is still there. Very linear.
Yeah. As a daily commuter, just like overall, just like regular car, it's a nice interior. It's a nice place to be. Like it has everything. It has CarPlay, Android Auto.
The cluster and everything, very, very modern. Yeah. You can tell me that I'm in a Mazda, honestly. You can tell me this from a BMW, I would 100% believe you. It looks very modern and also timeless at the same time. It doesn't look outdated. Maybe the screen a little bit, which is the issue with all cars that have an infotainment system. It gets dated with time. Technology advances so much. It has a nice control here, very kind of simplistic.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a simple interior, even for like the era, and I think that's what made the car age so well.
I think Mazda is very underrated as a company.
It's a small brand. As far as like you can compare Honda, Toyota, even Nissan, Mazda is tiny.
And I'm always pleasantly surprised by how they drive. Yeah. With all the Mazdas you've had that I've driven, they always drive very, very nice. The steering feel amazing.
That's what I like a lot, and I think they really nail it as far as an economy car that is enjoyable to drive, that is more performance oriented than like a regular Corolla. And I think you get a bit of that flavor with like a Civic, but not as pronounced. I think you'll have to get in like an SI to get it, like really that sportiness.
Yeah, those base models are watered down, is what I would say. I think really good car, really well balanced. I'm intrigued to see how the next one's gonna be.
So for the 2-liter, there's probably way too many mods that I should have ever done to this car. I got the cold air intake, the catless exhaust manifold, the sauce tune, plus also the CX-5 shorter final drive transmission. I think is going to help the 2-liter perform well. So it also has a whole bunch of suspension mods like polyurethane bushings, lowering springs, Coney struts, and a rear sway bar upgrade. This is second gen facelifted.
Which honestly, pretty good looking car. The wheels really make it look like something you would do time attack in, which is you do autocross in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a bit of track with it.
And it has a nice track stance to it as
yeah.
well.
Exterior wise, like I mentioned, like the front end, definitely not my favorite. The side of the car, I think, is really nice. I also like the back end of the car.
It has a really nice line. I think the side skirt here, what you added to it looks really nice. Gives it a nice profile. I think that contrasting with the black roof and everything, I think you did a fantastic job stylistic wise. Where it really happens for me though is the rear end. I love the rear end of the car. Yeah. It looks so sexy. The exhaust tips and everything you have going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Looks amazing. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah.
Whoever did those exhaust tips did a really, really good job.
All right, so fully modified Mazda 3 that doesn't go into gear.
Okay, for the record, all right? Listen to me guys. For the record, all right? The shifter is super stiff and does not auto center, okay?
Like stock flywheel, stock clutch.
I'm not sure why it makes me feel, it feels aggressive. It grabs very, very well.
Could be because of the rear motor mount.
Oh, right.
Because there's no flex with the engine.
Very short gear ratios.
Yeah, with the CX-5 transmission, it's short.
Good for spirited drive. Zero torque. Zero torque.
You get the torque from the transmission, the gearing.
Yeah. You need to rev it out more.
Yeah.
Very satisfying. Very good noises though. Yeah. For sure.
A lot of induction noise. Yeah. As much as the exhaust is kind of overtaking the volume, like you got some nice induction.
Oh yeah. Good brakes as well.
The brake bushings.
Brake bushings help a bunch.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this thing just.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this thing has so much more than what I'm giving to it.
Yeah.
Insane. The turn-in is just absolutely great. I'm not gonna say how fast I'm going, but it's surprising.
And it doesn't feel like it's like you're approaching the limit of the car.
Not even. I would think, because I'm sitting on a Mazda 3 right now.
Exactly.
Not even a speed. And let me tell you, it gets down.
Yeah.
Every corner I'm approaching, like this is. It's handling the bumps quite well as well. It doesn't get too disrupted. It does a little bit, but it's not. You're not on coilovers either. I will say this about the car: you can drive this spiritedly, between 3,000 to 5,000 RPM.
Yeah.
Have the best noises and have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
Good throttle response, decent torque. It's not like the 2.5, but you're still having a lot of fun. It sounds amazing, and you're rolling through gears.
Exactly. That's like with the shorter gear ratio, you're not like overly speeding like with the economy gearbox of the 2.5 or with the gearbox that came with this car. You know, you have time to get through some gears and rev it out to like 7,200 RPM.
Yeah, and you're having fun doing so.
Exactly.
This thing carries speed a little too well for being in an economy 4-cylinder jap box, essentially.
You just shouldn't slow down, essentially. You just gotta carry the speed and just keep going.
Yeah, but I keep looking down at the speedo thinking, do I want to go this fast in a Mazda, not a Mazda Speed, a Mazda 3. I think the steering wheel feel also very, very nice. I wouldn't even say as heavy as the
No,
other
it's
one.
lighter. It feels lighter on turn-in.
Yeah. Do I need to brake here?
No.
No? This is... It's so... I just feel bad when I see cars around. I'm like...
It's loud, yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad. And I'm not going slow. No. It carries it very well. Yeah. Very surprising. Yeah. I will say this is really nice for spirited driving. Yeah. This one here, very exciting to not even go as fast.
Yeah, you don't need to be going fast because it feels like...
Yeah. Very rewarding is what I would call this car. Yeah. So good job modifying this car because it's not too crazy. Yeah.
As you can see, I couldn't keep some good traction from a dead start, so it wasn't a proper comparison.
That was a race. Allegedly.
So after a few tries from a stop, we did a few rollers to get some more accurate data.
Well,
that was interesting.
That was interesting.
Did that go how you thought it was gonna go?
Happy with the results and stuff. What about you?
Automatic is faster in a drag race. It's that simple. You're
That
gonna
makes
get the
sense.
launch,
Yeah.
right? The launch is always gonna be to the automatic because you just can't slip that clutch specifically to really get traction, and it's cold outside by the way, guys.
Yeah. It's like it's what, like
7 degrees?
Yeah, 7 degrees Celsius.
Your tires just don't have any heat in them. The clutch is grabbing very aggressively. So on the launch, no matter what, this had it.
That's why I don't even feel like, not that it doesn't count, but it's like the traction wasn't there. It wasn't competing anything, you know?
Exactly.
It wasn't showing anything.
And in terms of pull, I honestly think they're so equal. It just depends who was first.
I feel like that's what's super interesting about the power bands. I felt like when I was changing gears, I felt like you got ahead, but as like I was pulling through the RPM range,
then you were coming in.
I was seeping ahead.
Yes. I would hear you pulling up.
Yeah, exactly. And then change gear, and then you'd pull up.
Exactly.
So that's why it was like so close.
And the gear changes in this are so quick with that automatic in the sports mode. Very surprising. Very surprising. That helped out a bunch as well.
Just with the gear change.
So just the modern technology, I think only the fact that it's automatic made it a contender. I think if this was a manual, especially a stock manual, this would have been faster, 100%.
Not by much, though.
Not by much. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think both of them very well contenders. Now, is it worth doing a 2-liter?
I don't know. It depends. Is it okay? So there's a few disclaimers that I do want to talk about for this 2-liter. One is the first gen Skyactiv 2-liter. So from the factory, they do 155 horsepower instead of 165 if you get the 2-liter in the 3rd gen.
Oh, okay.
So right off the bat, you're 10 horsepower lower if you were to do the same mods to this one.
Yeah.
The compression ratio is 13-1 instead of 14-1
Okay.
on this Gen 2, so hence the horsepower difference. And the headers factory, they have factory headers as opposed to this one, they kind of just like sent it.
Okay.
So these one have a little bit more torque, I think, with the 2-liter. It's more like the whole chassis is made for it.
Yeah.
Second thing is the sauce tune. It takes place, it really kicks in like 200-300 kilometers. And unfortunately, it happened, the battery was dead, so
it reset the tune.
Exactly, it reset the tune. So the car is still in learning mode right now, so it's not at the max peak of the tune.
Is there any other drag racing excuses you want?
Been thinking about doing this like challenge or like this thing with both cars for a while, and it's just like circumstances, like I wanted to have the tune like fully on par and like better weather, and for people considering these things, you know, just keep that in mind.
Now, here's the ultimate question. Does this engine fit in here? You know, my mind goes relate to that.
Nobody did it before. Like nobody did a 2.5 swap.
Which,
I think
to be
it's
fair,
ECU.
for an extra 20 horsepower.
It's like the way I see is your starting point is where your end point is. But you gotta think too, this has the CX5 transmission. If it was a stock transmission, I don't think it'd be that close.
No, this would be taking the cake, 100%.
Which one would you get stock? If let's say you're like looking for a daily
stock form, I can't modify it. I'm leaning towards the newer one.
But would you just get this and modify it to that extent though?
That's a good question.
Let's say you have it, your starting point is this, or your starting point is this, and you can have them both modded to this extent.
I think the cost involved and the parts availability would still make me go towards that. I would imagine they're lighter as well.
No, actually, they're pretty much on par.
Interesting. Yeah. So I think honestly, I just really like the way this one drives. So it's hard to compare if I can do the same with this, but I do really like this one as well. So if I can do something similar, if I can put a CX5 transmission on this, etc., yes, I'm going with this. I think it's a really good chassis, and I think the luxury is there, better seating position, all these things stacked on top of each other makes this a better contender.
I feel the same way. Like I kind of started off with this chassis and I started to build it and whatnot. I do love the 2-liter engine. It's a fun car. But if I were to start again, I think I'd just go with the 2.5. Your starting point is kind of where you're topping out with the 2-liter. And I think the torque starting off, and let's say this has a CX5 trans, like an automatic trans and a tune and like all the good stuff on it, this would be decently quick.
And it would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
100%. It would be so much fun. So what do we prove here? We prove that the newer generation Mazda, that they put more engineering in with more technology, is more faster, more better. However, you can pick these up for super cheap and you can have a lot of fun. And I think that's really what this is all about. This car here, you can pick them up. We pick them up all the time, $1,000, $2,000.
At the blue one at your shop, $500.
That's right.
500 bucks, you get a Skyactiv.
Yeah, and then you can do the modifications. It comes with a 6-speed. You can be less money into this and have a fully modified build car for the same price or lesser than the newer one.
In the end, either options are really good.
100%. I think it depends on the end user.
End user, what you want to do with the car. Thanks for your help. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, of course.
And I think we'll leave it on that, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
That was good. Please tell me this is all still recording. Yeah. If you really want to go that fast with your Mazda, get a Mazda Speed. Cut the video.
Why you gotta be like that?